I spent 20 years slowly frying my brain. And the worst part is, I didn't even know it was happening. Days turned into months, months into years, and before I knew it, I had 20 years of neck pain, burning eyes, and a constant feeling of wanting more. Until one day, I noticed something kind of scary. I was spending more time in my online life than in my real one. I was losing myself to something that I knew wasn't good for me, but that I also couldn't put down. It's supposed to be spring here in Pittsburgh. I have no idea what's happening. It's so cold. But I'll tell you why I'm in my car here in a second. But first and foremost, I really want to mention one thing. This addiction, it started with this guy. This is an iPhone 3GS. I got this when I was 16 years old. I thought it was the greatest thing in the world. I still remember downloading like my first app. It was just a digital lighter and you could just like swipe with your finger to make the flame go up. Looking back, like so stupid. What a waste of time. But it was such a novelty back then to have this. My first ever smartphone. Little did I know how much this device would change my life. And in some ways that were honestly amazing. And in others, not so much. That's why I'm here making this video, because I feel like I do not like the way that smartphones have kind of taken control of my life. I really feel like I have an addiction. More often than not, I find myself looking down on my phone, scrolling, being distracted, not being present in the moment. And I'm asking myself why? What am I getting out of it? By the way, look at this compared to my current phone. What a difference. How far we've come. And not only in the technology, but in the ways that we use our phones. And I think that's honestly where that addiction has come in. It's not necessarily the device themselves, because these are tools. What's inside of this phone is what I've been addicted to. And so for the past few months, I've been trying to find a way to get off my phone more. Look, I'm not naive. I know that I need this for certain things. I mean, God forbid if I ever had to look at a real map. I rely on my GPS to literally go 20 minutes down the road. But here's the issue. Along with these really useful tools, come with these really addictive and harmful apps that have changed the way that we think. I'm sure if you're anything like me, you feel it. You know that you feel a certain way after you're scrolling on Instagram, scrolling on Facebook, scrolling on TikTok, or just being on your phone in general. So where does that leave me? Have I found something to help me get off my phone more? Well, the answer is yes, but also no. And this is the reason why I'm in my car. This is a Bloom Card. It's a little device that helps me block apps on my phone. Now, before I continue, I just want to say I am not affiliated with this company. They're not paying me. I don't have any affiliate links. I'm not going to make any money if you buy one. This is something that I simply bought out of my own research. I wanted to find a way that would actually help me get off my phone, because everything I tried in the past just didn't work. Saying I'm just going to use my phone less doesn't work. So I felt like I needed something extra. And honestly, the process is pretty simple. When you're using the card, if you try to go on a blocked website or app, you're going to get this screen, which not only denies access, but it also blocks any loopholes like deleting the app itself to remove the restrictions. And to unlock it, you have to physically tap the card to your phone, which means if you keep this card somewhere inconvenient, scrolling on social media becomes more of a chore than an easily accessible bad habit. But the good news is you don't have to have your phone completely blocked. I like to set up schedules where I only block certain apps during the day so that I still have access to things that I actually need. And then at night, I pretty much block everything so I have no choice but to go to sleep. I also allow myself 3 5-minute breaks that can be used without the physical card to check things like DMs or watch a few reels sent by my friends. So I'm not completely locked out unless I want to be. My screen time on social media went from several hours every single day to an hour or less, because I didn't actually have access to use these apps all the time. And the reason why I keep this in my car is because it's just an inconvenient place to get to. But unfortunately, what I realized is that this is not the answer to everything. I'm still addicted to my phone. It doesn't matter if I have social media blocked or if I completely delete the apps, I'm still obsessively checking my phone sometimes. And it's kind of translated into checking the weather app, checking my email, checking literally anything else. I found myself the other day scrolling through the friend feed in Duolingo because I was looking for some quick hit of dopamine. And what I'm realizing is like the biggest problem and the biggest issue is that I have so much accessibility to my phone. It's right here. And that means that I'm just more likely to pick it up. It's like going to the grocery store and knowing that if you buy snack food, you're probably going to eat it when you get home versus if you don't buy any, well, you're probably not going to eat junk food because there's none in the house. Which is why I feel like the best thing that you can possibly do is to just not have access to your phone, which I know is not a realistic thing to do. Shout out to Zach's Mighty Tortilla Chips. These have to be the best tortilla chips that I've ever had. So I tried to think of like, what's the compromise here? And I thought, okay, if I'm still gonna have my phone, then I just need to make it as least addictive as possible. So the first step was to block the apps through my phone. But even then I was realizing like during the weekend, if I really felt like scrolling, I would go out to my car, use the Bloom card, unlock my phone, and then get on my phone and scroll for hours. So the only and next logical step was to just delete the apps from my phone. But I can still access it if I really want to. I can go online, I can go on my computer, I can look at my DMs. That being said, the best experience is gonna be on an app through your phone as you're scrolling, but that's how you get sucked in. Scrolling on a computer is just super clunky, and I find myself really not wanting to scroll. It's a much more intentional process of saying, okay, I'm going to go check social media. It's a completely different experience, and I think that there's not that connection of the habits and the addiction. So it's actually a really healthy relationship with social media, which is something that I haven't had for years. Speaking about healthy relationships with social media, I actually re-downloaded Instagram after filming this video because I have some cool things happening in my life that I do want to share with other people. But that being said, I didn't really feel the urge to want to scroll. So I think maybe using the Bloom card first and then just deleting the app completely gave me enough time to break the habit. The funny thing is, I still find myself actually going on the computer to check my DMs rather than using the app on my phone. So maybe I do actually have a healthy relationship with social media now. But just to be safe, I did put the app deep within a folder on my phone so it doesn't show up on my home screen. Every time I would pick up my phone, like yeah, sometimes I would obsessively check the weather app or some of the other things that I mentioned, but most of the time I look at it and I think, there's not really anything for me to do here. So I end up just putting it down and doing something else. And that's led me to be a lot more productive, a lot more present, and allowed me to do things that I wouldn't normally do in moments, just like sit in silence and have my thoughts. You'd be amazed at the recharge that it gives you, at the clarity that it gives you. It allows you to actually mentally sort through the things that you have consumed and not just be constantly overwhelmed and in a state of anxiety and stress. When I am on my phone now, I'm doing things that are more productive, like language learning or idea creation. I feel like I'm using it more as the tool that it was meant to be instead of being a distraction. It doesn't mean that I'm getting rid of my phone. It just means that I'm using it in a different way, in a much more intentional way. From a pure numbers perspective, I'm definitely spending less time on my phone. My screen time has gone way down. I'm curious now not just about how my phone affects me, but how everything that I consume in my life affects my energy and affects how I show up every single day. And that's why I'm going to be doing a challenge of having basically no media for 30 days. This is gonna include things obviously like my phone, like social media, but also TV, YouTube, podcasts, certain music, to go back to just my thoughts and having as much clarity and focus as I possibly can. So if you wanna see what happens on that journey, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Obviously means a lot to me, but regardless of all of this, if you can take away one thing from this video, I would just say, please remember that your phone is a trigger to a habit that you have ingrained into your life. You have to break those triggers to be able to create new ones or just stop them in general. Hopefully this video has helped you in some way or given you some insight. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.